Welcome to our channel. Today we're diving into the eerie and mysterious world of haunted castles right here in America. Get ready for some spine-chilling tales and ghostly encounters. From coast to coast, America is home to some seriously spooky castles, each with its own unique and terrifying history. We're talking centuries-old spirits, unexplained phenomena, and maybe even a ghostly game of hide-and-seek, if we're lucky. So buckle up, grab your ghost hunting gear, or, just a comfy blanket, and get ready to explore the top 10 haunted castles in America that you absolutely need to visit, if you dare. Let's kick things off with a real head-scratcher. The Winchester Mystery House in San Jose, California. This place is like the M.C. Escher of haunted houses. Picture it. Staircases that lead to nowhere, doors that open to brick walls, and windows overlooking other rooms. Sarah Winchester, heiress to the Winchester rifle fortune, built this on the advice of a spiritual medium. She was haunted by ghosts of those killed by Winchester rifles, and was told to keep building to appease them. For 38 years, construction continued non-stop, resulting in this bizarre 160-room mansion. They say the spirits still roam the halls, slamming doors, flickering lights, and maybe even playing the occasional ghostly piano tune. So if you're ever in California, the Winchester Mystery House is calling your name, or maybe it's the ghosts calling you. Next up, we're heading to the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina to visit the Biltmore Estate. This sprawling Gilded Age mansion is like something out of a fairy tale, but don't let the beauty fool you. It's got its fair share of spooky secrets. Built by George Washington Vanderbilt III in the late 19th century, this 250-room chateau is basically the definition of opulence. But behind the grandeur and glamour, there are whispers of restless spirits, including George Vanderbilt himself. Some say they've spotted him in his library, perhaps catching up on some reading in the afterlife. But George isn't the only ghostly resident. Visitors and staff have reported seeing a mysterious woman in a flowing gown, believed to be George's mother, Maria Louisa Kissam Vanderbilt. They say she roams the halls, keeping a watchful eye on her beloved home. And if that wasn't enough, there have also been reports of unexplained footsteps, disembodied voices, and even ghostly children laughing in the halls. Hold on to your hats, folks, because our next stop is the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado, a place so creepy it inspired Stephen King's iconic horror novel, The Shining. If these walls could talk, they'd probably scream. Built in 1909, the Stanley Hotel is a grand old hotel with a history as chilling as the Colorado winters. Stephen King himself stayed here back in the 70s and had a few unsettling experiences that sparked his imagination. He wasn't alone though. Guests have reported all sorts of paranormal activity, from phantom piano music echoing through the empty halls to ghostly children playing on the 4th floor. And then there's room 217, the most infamous room in the hotel. It's said to be haunted by a former housekeeper, Elizabeth Wilson, who died in the room after a mysterious explosion in 1911. Guests have reported luggage being unpacked, lights turning on and off, and even feeling a cold, unseen presence in the room. Some say the Stanley Hotel is a hotbed for paranormal activity, a place where the veil between our world and the spirit world is thin. Chapter 4: The Myrtles Plantation, a legacy of tragedy and terror. Get ready for a chilling tale of Southern Gothic horror as we head to St. Francisville, Louisiana, home to the Myrtles Plantation. This historic plantation, built in 1796, has a dark and troubled past, steeped in tales of slavery, murder, and restless spirits. Legend has it that the plantation is haunted by at least 12 ghosts, each with their own tragic story to tell. But perhaps the most famous and unsettling presence is that of Chloe, a slave who, according to legend, was hanged on the property after poisoning a family. They say Chloe can be seen wearing a green turban, her spirit eternally bound to the plantation. Visitors have reported seeing her reflection in windows, feeling her cold touch, and even capturing her ghostly image in photographs. And Chloe's not alone. There are stories of children's laughter echoing through the halls, a ghostly piano playing in the dead of night, and a mysterious figure in a military uniform spotted on the grounds. Chapter 5: Waverly Hills, Sanatorium, Echoes of Suffering. Our journey takes us to Louisville, Kentucky, where we explore the chilling ruins of Waverly Hills Sanatorium, a former tuberculosis hospital with a heart-wrenching past and a reputation for intense paranormal activity. Built in 1910, Waverly Hills was once a beacon of hope for tuberculosis patients, But over the decades it became a place of despair and death. Thousands of people died within its walls, their suffering echoing through the years. Today, Waverly Hills stands abandoned, its crumbling walls and empty corridors a haunting reminder of its tragic past. And where there is death and suffering, there are often whispers of the supernatural. Visitors and paranormal investigators have reported a whole host of spine-tingling experiences, from disembodied voices and footsteps to full-bodied apparitions. There are stories of shadowy figures lurking in the shadows, doors slamming shut on their own, and even reports of people being touched, scratched, and pushed by unseen forces. Some say the spirits of former patients and staff still roam the halls, unable to find peace. Chapter 6. Eastern State Penitentiary. Solitary confinement for the soul. Hold on to your souls because we're about to enter the haunting grounds of Eastern State Penitentiary in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. This former prison, once a model of reform, is now a crumbling reminder of the dark side of human nature, and a hotbed for paranormal activity. From 1829 to 1971, Eastern State Penitentiary housed some of America's most notorious criminals. Life inside these walls was harsh, with a focus on solitary confinement that often drove prisoners to madness. Today, the prison stands silent, but many believe the anguish and despair of the inmates still linger. Visitors and staff have reported all sorts of unsettling occurrences, from shadowy figures darting across cell blocks to disembodied whispers and moans echoing through the corridors. There are stories of cell doors slamming shut on their own, cold spots that defy explanation, and even full-bodied apparitions of former inmates. Chapter 7. All aboard for a spooky voyage on the high seas. Our next stop is Long Beach, California, to explore the legendary Queen Mary, one of the most haunted places in the world. This grand old ship has a storied history, best told with the lights dimmed low. During World War II, the Queen Mary carried thousands of soldiers. Some who perished during the war never truly left the ship. Reports of paranormal activity include unexplained noises and apparitions. The first-class swimming pool is haunted by a young girl named Jackie. Other hotspots include Stateroom B 340 and the engine room, haunted by a crewman. Chapter 8. The LMP Mansion. A family curse or restless spirits. Hold on to your hats because we're about to delve into the tragic history of the LMP Mansion in St. Louis, Missouri. This once grand home is shrouded in tales of misfortune, suicide, and restless spirits. The LMP family, once a brewing dynasty, faced a string of tragedies with 4 family members dying by suicide within the mansion's walls. Their untimely deaths cast a dark shadow over the home. Visitors and paranormal investigators have reported unsettling occurrences, from disembodied voices and footsteps to full-bodied apparitions and objects moving on their own. Some say the spirits of the LMP family are trapped, forever replaying their final moments. Chapter 9. The Whaley House, America's Most Haunted. Next up, we're heading to sunny San Diego, California to visit a house with a not-so-sunny disposition, the Whaley House. This historic home, built in 1857, has earned a reputation as one of the most haunted houses in America, and for good reason. The Whaley House has seen it all: hangings, accidental deaths, and even a few ghostly sightings before the house was even built. Talk about cursed ground. The Whaley family, who built and lived in the home, reported encounters with a friendly spirit named Yankee Jim, a thief who was hanged on the property before the house was built. But Yankee Jim is just the tip of the paranormal iceberg. Visitors and staff have reported seeing the ghosts of Thomas Whaley, the original owner, and his wife Anna, as well as their children. There have been accounts of disembodied footsteps, objects moving on their own, and even phantom smells of cigar smoke and perfume. The Whaley House is a time capsule of history, but it's also a time capsule of paranormal activity. Chapter 10. The Bell Witch Cave, a Tennessee terror. Our final destination takes us deep into the heart of Tennessee, to a place where legend and folklore collide, the Bell Witch Cave. This spooky cavern is said to be home to one of the most famous and feared entities in American folklore, the Bell Witch. The legend of the Bell Witch dates back to the early 1800s, when John Bell and his family were terrorized by an unseen entity that pinched, slapped, and even spoke to them. The entity, which became known as the Bell Witch, was said to be particularly cruel to John Bell, eventually driving him to his death. Today, the cave where the Bell Witch is said to reside is open to the public, and many visitors claim to have experienced strange and unsettling phenomena. People have reported hearing disembodied voices, feeling cold spots, and even being touched by unseen hands. Some say the Bell Witch is a vengeful spirit, while others believe it's something far more ancient and malevolent. Thanks for joining us on this spooky journey through America's haunted castles. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more chilling content. Until next time, stay curious and stay spooky. If you're brave enough to visit any of these haunted castles, let us know in the comments below. And hey, if you happen to snap a photo with a ghost, we definitely want to see it. From spooky staircases to haunted hallways, America's castles are teeming with ghostly tales and spine-tingling mysteries. Until next time, sleep tight, and don't let the ghosts bite.